Voodoo. What kind of voodoo do you do? Yeah. Louisiana. Hey, folks, welcome to the Jake and John Show, the world's greatest podcast of all time. I'm one of your hosts, John. I'm with the other great host, Jake.
What's up?
And we are reporting to you live from a motel, not a hotel, but a motel. And we are here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And there's some good weather out here, man. But yeah, the thing about this motel is there's no motel sex. Because, for one, we're not gay, and we're brothers. So that would be super weird. But anyway, me and Jake, we decided, let's take a road trip, man. We both just kind of want to get out for a little bit, blow off some steam, just go see some cool shit. And that's exactly what we did. We left last night from the Houston area. And where did we stop at with that casino? Do you remember the name of it and the town?
Delta Downs. And I don't know what town that's in. It's right across the border from right at the Louisiana border from Texas.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the town. I guess it doesn't matter, but when we walked in there, I kind of had, because the idea was, let's go in there and spend like $40 or something and just fuck around for a minute, look around, and then get out of there. But as soon as we walked in there, I had this, the same gross feeling I had in 2011 when I lived in that casino hotel for a month when I was going to school there. And it's that unmistakable smell of like cigarette butts and occasional BO and bad breath and like that stale alcohol smell. And of course I was glad to be there because we were going to have a little fun and just bullshit around. But it's like it brought back those memories of failure, of losing money, because I lost like $4,000. I was prepared to lose it when I went there, but I still lost it. And I was like, fuck, man. But yeah, we hit the slot machines and we didn't spend that much, right? Like $40, $60 maybe.
Yeah. Well, not a lot of money. Well, we went in and we fucked around with some $1 slots, and then we went and fucked with the penny slots for like a few minutes, and then said fuck it, went straight to the high roller room and said we're gonna blow our wad here, and started. It was a $5 slot, I think, and I just kind of went ape shit like $40, and as you would expect, nothing.
Yeah, I was hoping for the best, like everybody does. As you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hit that max bet. This is my time. I'm gonna get fucking $100,000 or whatever the max thing is on that machine, and then it's nothing, man. But it's whatever. But yeah, so we fucked around, and we've both been into multiple casinos, and we didn't see anything new, but we were hungry, and we were like, okay, let's go upstairs and at least just check out the buffet. I think it was more my idea, and we went up there. And we asked the lady at the front, how much is it, for each person? And she said it was like $30, right?
Yeah.
And then plus tax. And we were like, fuck that. Because we were looking at the people sitting down and kind of the food. And it didn't look that great. But I was thinking, so we walked away and we got to the escalator. And I was like, dude, let's just go in there, man. This is a road trip. Fuck it. Fuck $60. Who gives a shit? So we go in there and it's a piece of shit buffet. But they have a bunch of seafood. And so, of course, I got the shrimp scampi and some crab legs and shit like that. And you were moderate. You got like vegetables and like some kind of bread shit, that kind of thing. And that was a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm real weary of buffets anyway, for some reason. Well, I know why. It's because I've been sick at those motherfuckers before. And when you like combine that idea with seafood, I get real wary real quick. Because you know what's weird? So when you were eating your crab legs, you were commenting on the quality. You were like, these are like shitty quality crab legs. But I was thinking about that. How is one crab of shittier quality than another crab? You know what I mean? Like, as far from a meat perspective, is it because it's prepared different? Because I don't think that like one crab has less fucking muscle mass or whatever that gelatinous shit is in their leg than another crab.
Yeah.
But the ones you had were clearly lacking meat, like as to what you would expect. So I mean, what's the difference in crab there?
Yeah, I don't know if they're frozen too long or if they've been stored in some kind of shitty preservative. I don't know what the fucking deal is, but those were shit crab legs. Like the ones that you buy at the grocery store, it's fucking, it's not expensive, like 10 or 20 bucks for a bag of them. You boil them up, it's pretty good at home, and there's meat on the shit or whatever the fuck that stuff is. But it wasn't that good, man. But So it was clear that we wasted our money, and that when we were walking out, I apologized to Jake, and then we moved on. But yesterday, we basically just drove. We drove for, I don't know, like 4 hours, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, because, I mean, we started right after work. It's basically after work, went to the house, grabbed our clothes and shit, and rolled out. So...
Yeah, so then we're in a motel now, but last night we were big ballin'. We were in a hotel. I don't remember the name. The Drury Inn, that's what it was. And but this kind of ties into the buffet a little bit. And so on the way there, I decided to get some beers. I got a 6-pack of regular Coors, and we were both just kind of chilling, laying in bed or sitting at the desk, just kind of talking a little bit. And I was fucking around on my laptop and drinking the beers. And so anyway, we go to bed. It's uneventful and shit like that. Wake up the next day, and I can tell my stomach's a little off. Something's not right. I had a 6-pack of beer, and I had all that cheap fucking shitty buffet seafood. So we hit the road, and last night we were in Lafayette, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so today we wanted to go to New Orleans, and we did go there. We'll talk about that. But so we're probably on the road for an hour, and it just fucking hits me, dude. And I've talked about this before, my irritable bowel syndrome, and you occasionally have some stomach issues as well, so you get it for sure.
Yeah.
And then it's just that moment where your stomach feels really hot, and then that cramp hits, and you're like, I got to get to a bathroom in the next 10 minutes, or I'm going to shit my pants. And we couldn't pull over because when you look on the side of the road, this is like straight up fucking what's the name of that show? Swamp People. And if we pull over on the side of the road and I try to take a shit in the grass, an alligator would for sure fucking eat me, or a snake or something, like, because it's all fucking swamp.
Yeah, because I think we're literally in the, what's it called, the Atchafalaya. I'm going to say that word fucked up. The Atchafalaya swamp when this goes down.
Yes, yeah, and so, but I, from experience, I don't panic. I'm like, look, man, the first fuck is Jake's driving. We're taking turns driving. I'm like, just go to the fucking first one, the first gas station or McDonald's or whatever you see. He's like, cool. So, luckily we get there, and I actually took a picture of this bathroom, and we're going to put it on the website because we've talked about this before, like the Taco Bell bathroom. I think that was the last episode or one of the previous ones, and it was just fucking disgusting. Well, this was some kind of truck stop gas station place, and it was fucking disgusting. There was shit written all over the wall. There was fucking shit on the toilet, in the toilet. It was just a fucking disaster. So I'm in there for like 5 minutes fucking just trying to clean it enough so that I can like try to hover or something, right? And as soon as I get it clean, this guy comes in and sits in the stall next to me, dude, and he's just fucking destroying that toilet, dude. It just smells like noxious gas. Is that how you pronounce that? Noxious? Noxious?
Noxious. Yeah.
Oh, nauseous or noxious?
Noxious.
Oh, noxious.
Noxious.
Yeah. I'm a fucking idiot. I should know that.
Knows, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just dying, dude. And then my stomach hits, and it's just fucking wave after wave, dude. I'm not going to give too many details, but just explosion. But it's also a great relief. And so I'm texting Jake, and I'm thinking, man, I still feel like I got some in my stomach, and I gotta get it out. And the best way to do that is to use my vape pen, because it's got the high nicotine. Like, that'll hit my bloodstream and make me have to shit, right? And so I text him. I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. I was like, dude, can you bring me my vape pen and some wet naps?
Yeah.
And I was like, whenever you come in the bathroom, just cough 3 times and I'll know it's you. And then after I sent that text, I was like, what the fuck am I talking about? There's only 2 stalls. Just tell him which one I'm in, and he gives me the stuff, So I'm guessing you probably thought I was a fucking moron.
That would be a secret code.
Yeah. But anyway, we got out of there, man, and I got on the road, and we just really enjoyed all the fucking sights and the views on the way to New Orleans. And Jake really made that call for New Orleans, and I'm glad he did, because it was fucking badass, dude. And then we went down. We were supposed to go to the cemetery, the St. Louis Cemetery.
Yeah.
But you have to have a fucking tour guide to get in there. And we see all these groups of cunts walking around with tour guides, like sorority girls, and they'll have matching shirts on, and hipsters. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking listen to these stupid drunk questions,
Yeah.
So we skip the cemetery and go across the street to the French Quarter. And that's where like all the Mardi Gras shit goes down over there. And it was fucking badass, dude. But what was that? Was the first shop we went into? We went into like 3 or 4 different voodoo shops, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first one we went into, I think that's where we bought our T-shirts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Marie Laveau's House of Voodoo.
Yeah, and it was fucking badass, dude. But it was a little tight in there, man. It was a little smelly, a little damp in the air. There's a lot of fucking people in there, but there's cool shit in there, man. And it just makes you realize that there's still people here in Louisiana, and probably a lot of them. There's probably thousands that still practice this voodoo shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, clearly some of the stuff in there is touristy kind of shit, you know what I mean? But then there's a lot of stuff that's clearly not that is taken very seriously in there, and it's interesting because it's such like a strange thing, and it still exists. It's a like, how would you, like, stylistically, it's like these a lot of wooden mask type of things, voodoo doll type, everything kind of has a look,
like a medieval carnival / redneck / African, like, it's like all these cultures and shit combined, and it's weird as fuck. Like, when we went into a bunch of those voodoo places, that was our main interest, and we were hoping to find a magic shop, but we also went into a museum there. It was like $5 or $6 to get in. It wasn't the greatest museum, but there was some cool shit in there. And it showed, we read the history and saw like costumes and shit of the Mardi Gras, how it became and all that. Is it Mardi Gras or Gras? Is that silent?
Yeah, I think it's silent.
Yeah, Mardi Gras. Okay, but we went upstairs, and then the captain, I think that was the title of it. Not the one who's in the very front with the yellow jacket and the cape, but I think it's somebody who marches, and they kind of direct where the Mardi Gras itself goes. I can't remember. It's actually way more complicated than I fucking thought it was.
There's a bunch of things that go on that I wasn't aware of, because there's the I don't know what do they call it. It's basically these people all get dressed up. I'm way oversimplifying it, but they all get dressed up, and then they like run through town and go like house to house and do something, and there's like a captain of this, and
I don't know, I remember what it was. Okay, so there's the captain, right? And he's in the lead, and they go at one street at a time, and then they ask permission to enter the street. And I'm sure everybody always says yes, but that's custom, because back in the day they probably didn't always say yes,
Yeah.
But so he has to ask, and then each person in the parade behind him, or there's like, it's like almost like military ranks in a sense. The people behind him are like, they're, I guess, like hype men. That's the way I understood it, and they're allowed to drink in the streets as per custom a certain amount, but the captain keeps him in control. Like, he won't let anybody get fucked up, but he allows them to have a good buzz, to keep the party going.
Yeah, it's weird because it was defined that way. You can't get like, how was it worded? It said it kept them from getting completely inebriated.
Right.
That you keep them at a certain level of buzz to where they're like having a lot of fun, but they're not being complete jerk offs.
Yeah. But it was fucking cool, man. We saw so much shit today. I'm trying to like keep it in order. Like, and part of that museum, Fats Domino, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a big fucking fan, but I know who he is. And his house got fucked up in Katrina, just like destroyed. And his piano that's on that album cover he put out in 1980, it's in the museum, and the way that they found it after the flood. And it's like, two of the legs is broken off, and it's all fucking dirty and shit. But it looked fucking cool in there, man. Oh, dude, before I even forget, and this isn't like historical or anything, but we were upstairs and we were looking at the captain thing that I'm about to talk about. And this fucking, this black dude, he didn't look like he was drunk or anything. He was at the top of these wooden fucking stairs, dude, and he just randomly like slipped or some shit, and he fell down. And it was like boom, 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 and these are hard ass wooden stairs, dude.
And it was high too.
Yeah, dude. It was like fucking at least 20 feet high of stairs.
Yeah, I mean, it was. We weren't like looking at the stairs at the moment, but all of a sudden you heard that unmistakable sound of somebody just tumbling downstairs. It was like do 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 do, and you go. We're like, oh shit, and then looked over the side. I mean, and the guy was standing up because you heard him when he got to the bottom. He was like, oh fuck, or something like that. But
well, I went over there and looked over the side, and he was bent over holding his knees, but then he kind of stood up and took a deep breath and shook his arms out, and like, I was going to go see if he was okay, but I didn't want to embarrass him, so I was like, just whatever. He's not hurt, he's not bleeding, so fuck it. But that was just like really random, because it's really quiet in there, like a church, because we were in the I don't know if it was the Mardi Gras or the Katrina side, but it was just really quiet, so it was just odd that took place. But I was, man, I get so fucking off topic sometimes and like going all over the place. But I was talking about the captain. Like, there's the dude who actually leads like the very front of the Mardi Gras, and then there's the other like kind of hype man who actually has the costume on. And this costume, it's like if you have like a medieval knight, but they're in all cloth, elegant armor with like a helmet mask thing with a fucking I don't know, like a ponytail thing coming out of the top of it, and it looked creepy. You remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I was looking at that and I was like, dude, this is weird. There's something dark about this, because the only thing I've ever seen of Mardi Gras is like shit on TV or when my friends have gone there and taken pictures and shit, because I've never been before. But when you see all that shit in person and the costumes, you're like, there's like some kind of evil weirdness to this, but it's likable. you know?
Yeah.
It's like festive and it's cool and it's fun, but we learned a lot of shit today about the Mardi Gras, man.
Well, for years and years and years, I haven't ever understood what was going on, you know? Because, I mean, we live in Texas, so we're not too far. So we hear stuff about Mardi Gras all the time, and I've never actually been during that time, but I have never understood, like, what it is. But after going to that museum, it appears it's just really this huge multicultural thing that is kind of melded together over time. You know, I think it's part of it's like taken from like Carnival, and then part of it has like there's like African ancestry in there, and then you know a lot of French influence, and it's all just kind of melded together over time and has become this really strong cultural thing in Louisiana. And
yeah,
because the whole French Quarter, you can tell, or you can see signs of Mardi Gras everywhere. I mean, you know, it's not going on right now, but I mean, you can see, you know, there's like beads and shit everywhere, because that's one of the big things is they throw the beads off the floats, and there's mask shops all over the place. It seemed like on every corner there was a shop that sold Mardi Gras masks.
Well, though it wasn't Mardi Gras, obviously, because it's not till February 28th, right?
Yeah,
I think, yeah. But it was Party, Pardy Gras.
Yeah, it's like I think it's kind of like pregame, and it's
yeah. There was like a live, like kind of country Zydeco type of band playing in the street, and there was a fucking shitload of fucking people out there. Like we were having to weave through people on the sidewalks and the streets, and there was a lot of people out there, dude. A lot of drunk motherfuckers too, man.
Yeah.
But it was hype, dude. I mean, it was. I guess that's what I expected it to be. The only thing I didn't like, and there's nothing you can do about this, is there was a ton of you could just tell they were those rich, spoiled college kids. Their parents are just fucking throwing money at them. All the dudes look like they're fucking, like, I don't know, made out of mashed potatoes with a toupee on. You know what I mean? Just soft dudes have never fucking, like, hit a punching bag or lifted weights, or, you know what I mean? They've never done anything hard. They never mowed their fucking lawn, you know? Just cunts, you know? And walking around with their, like, prissy, disrespectful girlfriends. And I was telling you, we were standing on this corner, and we were waiting for, like, the traffic thing to turn on so we could walk across the street. And there was this group of these yuppie white kids they were probably, like, 20. No, they had alcohol, so I'm guessing they were at least 21, but very young. And to our left, sitting down smoking a cigarette, was this black girl. You could tell she was like a street girl, not like dirty, you know what I mean? But like she's like from there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, native.
And like all these like super fucking white spoiled kids are like 2 feet away from her. There's like 10 of them, and they're trying to plot out and plan where they're gonna meet in an hour from now. And this guy's like, "Yeah, that sounds good." I don't remember the name of the restaurant. He was like, "Okay, that's our best bet. So logically, and in an hour and 20 minutes." And I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And I look over, and that black girl's like shaking her head, like, "Oh my!" Like she's like disgusted by these people just as much as we are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was just like, "Holy shit, dude!"
Really, it reminds me. I said this earlier. It reminds me a lot of 6th Street in Austin. Yeah, because like it looks a lot like a college town during the day, except for the environment's a little bit different because you know the French Quarter is a lot more historical. There's a lot of old buildings there, and everything looks pretty cool. And John and I, when we were walking around, we decided, let's go look for places that are just fucking strange. Like we want to find hole in the walls, you know, places that you know some people might not even be comfortable going into, and experience some of the culture of the French Quarter in New Orleans. Not just because I mean you can go anywhere and walk by 1,000 bars, right? But we wanted to see some of the weird, kind of dark underbelly of New Orleans, and I think we found a little bit of it.
Yeah, I think we did. I was hoping maybe for a little more darkness, but the thing is you can just tell, because first of all, if you're on foot walking around, especially your first time there, the French Quarter is fucking huge. I don't know if that's just a little section, but just that whole area, all those buildings and all those little shops, it's fucking huge, man. And a lot of that shit wasn't open. And it leads me to believe that there's probably some kind of voodoo rituals and crazy sex shit that goes on behind a lot of those doors, maybe at certain times of the year, or maybe even while we were walking around there. But it has a grittiness and not ancestry. I'm trying to think of the word. Not ancient, really, but it just has this look to it that it's completely from a different time period. And because of the way everything looks, it sets up an atmosphere. And I think that atmosphere makes people more willing to do wild shit.
It has like an authenticity. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because the buildings are old, and it looks like it's probably looked for a very long time, and it hasn't changed a whole lot, or at least a lot of it hasn't.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. This could all be in my head, but like we were talking about on the drive, like whenever we go different places, and maybe this probably happens to everybody, but when I see a certain type of environment, it's like I get a vision in my head of my take on things of like what goes on around here, you know what I mean? Like whenever fucking nobody's looking and that kind of shit, and what would it feel like to live here day to day? You know, like how would your perspective be? And my perspective from just that short time is that there's wild shit going on there, man, because like we were walking through one of the little voodoo museums, and they had some pictures out, and there's like some fucking half-naked black girl. She looks like she's about 20. Her tits are hanging out, and they're out in the middle of the woods, and she's like dancing around a fire, and she's got 2 big fucking pythons in her hand and shit. Like, think about how fucking insane that is, dude. You meet up with like 20 other voodoo witches or whatever doctors. Maybe I think it's like a witch doctor, right?
Yeah.
Or something, yeah. And you're out there in the fucking middle of the woods. There's alligators and shit all over the fucking place, whatever kind of wild predators they have. And you're fucking naked dancing around with snakes fucking blowing cigar smoke on each other and burning incense and shit. That's fucking crazy, dude. Like, what the fuck is going on? But like I said, I still feel like based off of what we saw today, that's very popular and people still do that shit and they 100% believe in it.
So one of the things I thought was cool, one of the coolest thing I think we saw like concerning voodoo today was in the museum, and the museum wasn't huge, but it had a lot of cool stuff. And it was kind of a one way in, one way out thing. And so we walk into this, and it's got, when you first walk in, there's like a little hall, and there's a bunch of pictures on the wall. And it's what's her name? Marie Laveau. There's a picture of her, I think. And then there's pictures of other, what do they call, were they priestess or priest, or no, that's not what they call them. Anyway, they have these different names, I guess, for the practitioners of voodoo. And when you walk in, there was like dollar bills stuck like in the side of the frame of some of the pictures and stuff, and it was like, what the hell is going on here? When we first walked in, it didn't make a lot of sense, but as we kept moving deeper and deeper into it, it all became clear that these were offerings to I know at least for the one was offerings to Marie Laveau.
Yeah,
I think is the way if I read that right, and that you basically one of the what did it say? It said take a piece of paper and write your wish on it and wrap your offering in it, whatever it was, your money, or people were leaving all kinds of shit, and then you knock on this stump 9 times or something like that and say a prayer. I don't know. It was this big ritualistic type of thing you would do, but people were leaving all kinds of things as offerings. There was a lot of change, like shitloads of just change, shitloads of dollar bills. And I gathered from looking at it, a lot of it's been there a long time. So I don't think that these people are just taking the money, like scamming it. It doesn't look like that, because it looks like a lot of that shit's been there a long time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much money's in there, but it's quite a bit. And cigarettes. There's like people leave a shitload of cigarettes for these things. Like I'm pretty sure that there's like real human skulls back there.
Yeah, I think there was 2 of them. They looked real.
Yeah, 2 or 3, and they had cigarettes. Like people had placed cigarettes like in their mouths, like gently, and like everything looked like it was in place.
Yeah,
but these were offerings to whatever it was, and it was I don't believe any of the voodoo stuff, obviously, but it was interesting. Like I appreciate the respect that seemed to be given to the place. Like it seemed like people were just respectful of it, and like leaving this kind of cool piece of culture out there for other people to experience.
Yeah, with those offerings, you could tell, like you said, there was a lot of dollar bills, a lot of change, and we saw there was condoms and a bottle of Malibu rum, tons of cigarettes, like you said, cigars and shit like that, and just little trinkets, little makeup kits and things like that.
Wallet pictures, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but like you said, you can tell by looking at it, is you can see a layer of dust on a lot of it. And so I think 2 things is, 1, people just respect the culture, but 2, because of the kind of voodoo aspect, I think that in itself is an honor system where people are like, I don't know, man, like I don't believe in this shit, but just in case,
I'm not fucking with it.
I'm not taking that dollar bill off that fucking altar. That's what they are, right? As altars.
Well, there was there was altars in there, and really what the altar was, and I don't even know what the definition of altar is necessarily, but it would be like a picture of someone. I think it was Marie Laveau, and then there might have been some other people too, but it was like basically like a picture of someone, and it would have like some candles around it and some other weird artifact-y type of things and little masks, and I don't even know what all that stuff was, but it would be there, but you could tell that it had been there a very long time and that people weren't messing with it.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in myself for not wanting to push through and do the cemetery thing, because if you look on Google and just type in like the top 10 tourist cemeteries or graveyards or whatever you want to call them in Louisiana, and the one of those on the list is the St. Louis one that we decided not to go into. But when you see those pictures, and we took a glimpse over the wall a little bit, and through the little doorway before we decided not to go in there, and it's just really beautiful, and it's so old. And because when you see like those mausoleums, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
And it has all, like, especially the newer ones, and the walls are all gray usually and fine and all that. But all that, like, not plaster but concrete or whatever the fuck it is, it's like crumbling off, and you can see the bricks behind it. And there's like roots and grass and shit kind of growing out of the bricks, and it just looks super fucking legit and authentic. Like any kind of horror movie or suspense movie or thriller or whatever, man, if you filmed it in that graveyard, at least a scene, like the studio wouldn't have to do anything. Just get a good camera and just capture it as is, because it's so fucking beautiful and so perfect.
Well, and I believe it's a Catholic cemetery, because that's another thing about the area is that culturally it's very, Catholicism is a big deal out there, and it has some tie to Mardi Gras even in some sense, because it starts a certain number of days after Ash Wednesday. Yeah. It starts every year. It starts a certain number of days afterwards. So it's not the same day every year. It's just however that date falls, which is kind of interesting. So there is some kind of a tie there, and that was another cool place we went to. So we actually went into I can't remember the name. It was a cathedral, Catholic cathedral, and this thing was incredible. It was beautiful. It was. Incredible stained glass, the paintings on the ceiling. You got some pictures of this
the murals
stuff, right?
on the ceilings.
Yeah, I mean, this thing was amazing. I mean, it was just from an architecture perspective was beautiful.
Yeah, all religion aside, going in there, I'm not into religion. I don't support it, and I don't necessarily respect it. I respect the people I love who are still, into their religious things. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care for it. But all that shit aside, as soon as we walked in there, I was overwhelmed that I was so impressed for a moment, because the amount of work and time that went into this place to make it like so masterful. Just what's the word I'm looking for? It's it's a piece of art. That is exactly what it is when you walk in there. Because like you said, the stained glass is fucking gorgeous, man. Just beautiful. The murals on the ceiling, that took me by surprise. I was not expecting that. We walk in there, these ceilings are high as fuck, dude. It's like 60 feet, something like that. It's way the fuck up there. And the paintings are beautiful. And then you walk up to the front where like the priest stands, the stage. It was called something. It said, "Please don't touch the something," and it was talking about that whole area. Yeah. But they had fucking on each side, the left and the right, these like relics, like the fucking lost ark and shit.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I used to read about the Catholic Church a lot, and I knew a little bit more. But I know that at least at some time, maybe not now, they have these different artifacts, and they have power of some kind, right? And so I don't know if any of those are world famous that were in there, but they looked super legit and expensive and old as fuck, and they look fucking cool, man.
Well, one thing about the Catholic Church is they have there's a lot of like ritualistic like symbolism in there, and some of these things were I don't know what it was. So there was one case, and it had is it a scepter? Like what is it? What is the thing that the Pope carries? It's like one of those. I don't even know if it's the Pope, but somebody high in the Catholic Church carries this
I would say
scepter type of thing. Like there was one of those in this big, ornate wooden case, and then on the other side there was something. I don't know exactly what it was, but it looks like a Pope umbrella. You know what I mean? Like something that would like be on top of the Pope mobile or something. I don't know what it is, but when you see these things, to me they're super interesting, because that that some people take this like you can tell the respect, like how seriously that they take these things, and I've actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure that I've spent any time in a Catholic church, because there was a few things in there that I've only seen in movies, right? Like there was the confessional booths, and even those, I mean, you could tell that just the quality of construction. These things were obviously have been around quite a while.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, just everything in there was like ornate and beautiful, and you could tell like a lot of care has been taken to make these things just like look a certain way, and to it just kind of commands respect when you go in there. You're just like, wow, this is just like truly like a cultural phenomenon. And people that go to Catholic church are probably like, you guys are idiots, but I mean, they see this all the time. But to me, it was just really fascinating because, a lot of it kind of has a certain, it has that authenticity because, well, it is, but not only that, but it's a lot of this has clearly been around for quite a while, over 100 years, and so it has that kind of old school authenticity as well as how well it's been kept, and everything just looks incredible. Oh, and then there was the I don't know what they call this either, but there was like the angels, and they hold the bowl. I guess this is where like the holy water is.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and there was a few places, and then the sheer number of candles just all over.
Yeah, there was hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, you could go and light them, I think, or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about I don't know what the symbolism is behind like going and lighting the candles up there and everything.
I think that you're supposed to, I don't know the order you do it in, but you light the candle and then it's for whatever saint you're praying to. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I mean, it's obviously kind of strange, but yeah, when we walked in and on the wall, and this is the thing, everything in there is beautiful because it looks handcrafted. It's not when you go to most modern churches and super churches, everything in there from top to bottom just looks like it's some manufactured thing from a factory. Whereas in this place, everything looks handmade, and it's just really badass. But when we walked into the front of it, they had the stone angel on the wall that it was holding the bowl, and it has the holy water on it. And I saw the people walking in front of us, and they dip their fingers in it, and then I think they do the cross thing, right? Like north, south, east, west. That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I forget why you do that before you walk in the church, but I've seen it in movies and shit. So, but I wanted to do it, not because I'm religious, but I mean, for one, I want to respect that we're in there and their thing, And plus, it just seems kind of fun, Like I seen the Boondock Saints do it, that movie, and I'm like, I'll fucking do it, I dip my shit in there, but I didn't want to fuck it up because I didn't remember which direction you were supposed to go with the cross, but.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't want to disrespect it either, and
exactly,
that was another thing that was pretty cool, is because that whole area, like the French Quarter, is pretty crazy. Like it's full of bars, and I mean, you can drink outside. There's people drinking. I mean, what time we get there? 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and there was already people like drunk, and like, and the bars are full, like at 2:00 in the afternoon. So one thing that did impress me was that when we went in there, that everyone did kind of treat us with a certain reverence. Like there wasn't anybody in there being loud. There wasn't anybody acting like crazy. Everybody kind of, was being respectful, and I appreciated that. It makes it just a better experience for everybody. Like especially touristy people like us, we're not there really for the religious aspect, but just to appreciate it in that environment where it, because it does command a certain amount of respect.
It does, and we talked about this a little bit as we were walking through the streets. There's different personality types. Maybe it's upbringing. I don't know what it is. But when you and I go to places like that, we always respect it, and then we try to learn something and appreciate shit that we don't know about, that we haven't seen before. And we like it. It's fun to us and it's interesting. But then you see these other people just walking around being kind of like typical loudmouth American tourists that are stereotyped in other countries, just kind of being disrespectful of the environments that they're in and just saying dumb shit loud. Like we went to, I think it may have been the last voodoo shop that we went to, and it was the one where they were actually doing the readings inside, and they had the curtain closed, and there's a sign and it says, don't disturb, don't come in, respect whatever's going on in there and shit. And so, you can still talk in there, but, just do it in a decent tone, and there's some fucking college kid in there just fucking like yelling and shit. And I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up, you fucking dork, But it's like, I can't stand fucking people like that because I feel like they fuck up the atmosphere, It's like we're in there trying to look at voodoo shit, get into the voodoo zone. We're respecting their shit. We want them to feel as natural as possible so they can voodoo it the fuck up. And you got to come in here with your fucking stupid wave haircut
and your fucking whalebone margarita. You know, it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it was annoying, but yeah. So it disappoints me that there are Americans that behave that way. But I mean, what can you do, right?
Yeah, and I guess really we're probably the outliers as far as being tourists because we didn't come there with the intent of going to a bar at all.
Yeah,
like our intent was to go see what does this, what's in the French Quarter, what is there to see, and man, and I feel like there's a lot to see there, and I'll definitely come back. Because I know there's more museums, there's more churches to see, there is incredible cemeteries out there, and not only that, I'd love to go during Mardi Gras and just to experience that and see some. Now understanding a little more of the formations and kind of how it goes down and the logistics behind it. It's more interesting knowing more of the lore behind it, rather than it just being like some big drunken party. Like actually knowing why people are doing things and why they're dressed certain ways. Because I never knew that there was a difference in the way people dressed either. Like I didn't know there was. Because a lot of it is based off like royalty and there's all kinds of stuff, but just kind of knowing what that is a little better now makes it more interesting, and I'd love to see that in person. Yeah,
I was thinking about this, and the people who live there and the people who actually are in the parade, they 100% know what's going on. They know the history behind it, how important it is. And of course, it's a celebration to have fun, to get the city hype, to make money with tourism, and just to have a blast, right? But that's the thing. I think if everybody there, like the tourists and the people who are just visiting, if they knew the whole structure and the history behind it and why, and not that I'm an expert all of a sudden, but I have a good idea now. If they knew that, it makes it even more badass.
It is, because I was interested because it's so big. It's like, man, what is the cultural thing behind this? Like, how did this start? Like, how's it evolved over time? Because it's clear there's clearly more to it than it's just a big street party. Yeah. There's all this like mythology and lore behind it that makes it just, like you're saying, it's that much cooler when you understand kind of what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, this just hit me. I kind of forgot as we were walking around and looking at the different things, and we were trying to find somewhere else to go. It was because we went to multiple voodoo shops, and I think that's what we were looking for. And we come up around the corner, and there's the gay pride flags. And so it's like, oh, there's the gay street, and that's where the GPS is telling us to go. Neither one of us are homophobic in any way, have no problem. But I had a thought for a second, is like, are we like welcome to come down here? Is there a custom? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't really sure, but I'm like, who gives a fuck? It's 2017. And so we walked down there. No one looked at us funny in any way. No one said anything rude. I wouldn't expect they would, right?
Yeah.
But there was definitely, and it's something I don't see often, and it's a great number of homosexuals, together in public and being physical and just doing their thing together, right? Both men and women and all types that you can think of, stereotypes, whatever. And but they were having a blast, And I got to say this, out of all the streets that we walked down, that one was the cleanest. And it didn't appear that there was any, what's the word I'm looking for? Like overly drunken, loud stupidity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little bit more well-mannered. So it was pleasant to walk down the gay street. I don't know what it was called, but it was cool, man. And we just passed right on through peacefully to our next destination. And but I guess every major city has that, right? Like in Houston, it's the street, I think it's Montrose, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've both been to San Francisco. It's a street over there, I'm sure. Well, it's probably more than a street over there, but... there is an area over there. I can't remember what it's called, but... Yeah, I got off topic there, but what we were talking about is the appreciation for the Mardi Gras itself, the history behind it, and, how all the people who participate in it, especially the people who take the key roles, like leading it and organizing it and shit like that, it's a serious thing to them. And the person who leads it is the captain, or however you say that in French, capitan or something. That's what it is, right?
Maybe, because it was like captain, but it did have an E on the end.
Yeah, is that guy, I don't know how the first person got chosen or how that went down, but now the person who leads that does it for years and years, and then when they decide to pass the torch down, they pick their successor. And it has to, in the way that I read it, it needs to be somebody who really wants that job, who loves the Mardi Gras, they take it seriously, you know? Because when you're that person, not only are you responsible for the entire direction of the parade and the people behind you that are drinking, that are interacting with the crowd, like I think they have titles like the Thief and the Fool, and what else was there? There was like 5 different titles. But it's a huge responsibility because there's a fucking shitload of people out there drinking from all over the fucking world, you know. And it's just when I read it that way and I really thought about it, that's a big deal, man. So when that fucking guy picks his successor, I guarantee you that's like the happiest day of that person's fucking life.
Well, it's weird because you really are kind of that's a huge status, right?
Huge.
Like it's kind of a royalty thing. You're you're a major part of Mardi Gras. You're a major part of that culture if you've been selected as the captain.
And a very important position for so many reasons. And you're going to be on television. People are going to see you all over the world. You're going to be in documentaries about the Mardi Gras. You're going to be all over YouTube. You know, it's a huge fucking deal, man. And I was reading about that, and it just made me smile when I was thinking about it. Like, that guy has to go up, and he asked the people on the street, like, can we enter, or however, you know, whatever they say.
Yeah, they got these, like, customary things.
Yeah, and it's like customs. Like, you can't just be some asshole off the street. You have to know the whole history, the commands, how to do this. You have to control the people behind you and shit. And it was just, like, thinking about that, I was like, this is fucking badass, dude.
Yeah.
And I want to go. I don't know if I can this year. I don't know if either one of us would be able to. But I don't want to go there to get all fucked up and shit. I mean, I might have a few beers, but I want to appreciate it and see this shit go down fucking live, man.
Yeah, it's cool. I think on this year we looked at it. When is it? It's February 28th. I think is the first day of Mardi Gras. So I don't know. Yeah, that's actually creeping up really quick. So
yeah. Is that Valentine's Day also? No,
that's the 14th. So. But yeah, that's the last day of February. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's I don't know. It's cool, man. I'm glad that we've got to experience that, and it's strange living so close to it that I've never really gone to New Orleans and kind of looked around. But there's so much more to see, and I'll definitely be coming back. And you know, Louisiana is an interesting state. Yeah. Talk a little bit about the drive-in. So, and. We're idiots. We've only seen very small parts of it, but kind of we came on Interstate 10 out of Houston, and so we're kind of coming along the southern border of Louisiana, and you know, kind of close to the ocean there.
Yeah.
So there's a shitload of bridges here, and well, when I say bridge, well, it's not even that many bridges. It's the length of the bridges.
Yeah.
So you'll be going over like swampland. And how long would you say some of those bridges are? Like 20 miles or more?
I think it was 22 miles. And this is a bridge. Like, think of a bridge if you're driving on a highway, and then you have a bridge, you know, like the overpass. It's like concrete, but all below you, the entire fucking way is swamp water.
Yeah.
Or seawater, whatever the fuck that is. But there's marshes and swamps on both sides of you. And the only thing I'm thinking the whole time, if one of these sections of bridges break while we're on it, we're fucking dead for sure. Drowning, getting torn apart by fucking alligators. But yeah, dude, that stretch, that 22 miles, I think it is, it's fucking weird. It's very fucking weird.
Well, it's one thing that's interesting about it is that because you're kind of dealing with the ocean marine layer and all that, is you go through the environment changes kind of rapidly. So, you know, you'll be going along, it could be completely sunny, and all of a sudden it's completely overcast and foggy as shit. Like you
super
can't,
foggy.
Yeah, super foggy. You can't see barely shit. Yeah. And not only that, but you're on this bridge surrounded by swamp. So it actually creates this really, really kind of cool vibe when you're on it. Everything just looks cool. You know, I mean, it's really strange. And I kind of gained an additional respect for alligators while we're out here. So on the way here, one of the cool things is in just about any store you can buy like a taxidermied alligator head. So of course I bought one at like the first fucking store we go to. And this one's just a baby alligator head that I bought, and their teeth are fucking sharp, man. Yeah. Like, I always knew they had strong jaws. I knew they had a ton of teeth, but for some reason in my head, I was thinking that their teeth were kind of dull, like not dull, but I didn't realize that they're like sharp ass points.
Yeah.
Like, alligator will fuck you up. Like, if that thing, you combine the sharpness of those teeth with the power of those jaws, like, if it gets a hold of you and then
you're fucked.
Yeah, it does your spin. There's nothing you're going to do. Because on those adult alligator heads, I mean, I don't know how big the teeth are, but I'm going to wager that they're, a good solid 2 inches or better, maybe.
Yeah, on the bigger ones.
Yeah. So, I don't know. When I was looking at that, I don't know why that was so surprising to me, how sharp the teeth were on it, but those things are legit, man. And those big ones, holy shit. That's like, those are straight fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah, and their feet too, I forgot. They have those long ass sharp claws on their fucking feet too, man. And if you think about that thing it's just pure fucking muscle tissue. That's all it is. They're not fat as far as I can tell. So when that thing fucking grabs you and just millions of years of evolution to fuck you up. That's all it is. It's a solid fucking 200-pound muscly thing with fucking 100 teeth and claws that hates your fucking
just
guts.
Designed to kill.
Yeah, and loves it.
That's all it's made for. And, and I think the way they do it is they grab something and then they roll with it, right?
Yeah, the death roll.
The death roll underwater. Now, having put it all together and actually touched an alligator tooth, now I can fully appreciate what's happening there, and that is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, because I think the death roll it works 2 ways. Is for one thing, it's helping the alligator to drown its prey, to make its job easier, but also it helps to rip it apart. And so if you have more than one alligator and they have a big piece of prey, they grab it and they all just start fucking rolling, just ripping chunks off, dude. It's a fucking buffet, dude. Just fucking grubbing, right? Because if you're an alligator and you say you get I don't know, a fucking deer or something like that, you gotta rip it up a little bit before you swallow the whole thing, So, but if you're rolling around and shit in the water, ripping it apart, it's no fucking problem.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy out here because so that's another thing. So I was saying you can buy alligator heads in most of the stores. You can also buy alligator claws, kind of like a lucky rabbit's foot, but these are like alligator feet.
Yeah.
And then we also went to, I guess it was one of the voodoo places, you could buy kind of the same thing but chicken feet.
Yeah.
So you can buy a lot of animal parts here, you know. And so one of the things we are trying to do today, and maybe we can succeed tomorrow, is you would think here it would be easy as shit to find somewhere where you could just go eat some fucking alligator. Yeah. And that was on our agenda today, but we weren't able to make it happen. So after we fucked around over there in New Orleans for a while, we decided, well, we're going to start kind of heading back because this is kind of a quick weekend trip for us. So we came back into Baton Rouge and we thought, all right, here we go. We're going to go find some badass Cajun food.
Yeah.
Well, we found plenty of places, but Baton Rouge is like a happening place, happening city. There everywhere was like hour plus wait
at least
to eat, and so we ended up not being able to go somewhere and eat alligator. Now you did eat some frog legs.
I did
the other night.
Yeah, at the casino. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the frog legs. What do you think here?
Well, I like frog legs, but the truth is there's really I wouldn't call it chicken. Some people say that, but I don't think that that's true at all. It's it just sort of has it's a little bit softer and it's really bland, but you have it fucking cooked in that batter, deep fried. So you have that, dip it in some ranch dressing, and it just tastes like a delicious deep fried fucking piece of street food, But I think that if you've never had them before and you tear off the deep fried breading and you see, I don't know if these are veins or it's some kind of tendon or something like that, but if you look at the meat on the frog legs from all the way from the hip to the toe area, it's like this black stringy strands that wrap around it, and they look like veins. And I think that would turn people off because I looked at it and I was like, that looks kind of gross, but this tastes fucking awesome. So I just ate the whole fucking leg. I ate a bunch of them, and it was fucking good, dude. It was really good. But if I had to, I've had alligator before too at the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
If I'm putting the two next to each other, alligator meat is better because when you eat a frog leg, all that fucking bone and shit is all in the way, and there's really not much meat. It's good, you can live off of it for sure. But with alligator meat, dude, it's just straight up lean, delicious, juicy fucking meat, man. It kind of tastes similar, though. You just don't have to deal with all the other bullshit.
Yeah, and living in Texas, we've actually, or at least I've had quite a bit of Cajun food. So I was kind of looking for some new things, but really, after we got to looking at it, I think I've had most Cajun food. I don't know that there's a lot of, because I've definitely had boudin before, or I don't know how you say it,
boudin. Yeah, I think so.
I've had various different flavors of boudin. I've actually had alligator boudin before, and then I've had gumbo. Absolutely, I've had what was that shit I got tonight?
What was that? I don't. It looked better than mine. I think it was better than mine.
Jambalaya. Yeah, I got some jambalaya, and then crawfish. I've had crawfish several times, and we're talking about this in a way. Crawfish is like an amazingly sustainable kind of food.
Yeah.
I imagine that probably the only people that have eaten crawfish on any kind of scale are people that live in the southern United States. I mean, I could be completely wrong about that, but if you haven't seen these, they're kind of like shrimp, but they live in like puddles, kind of.
Yeah, and they're sort of like a lobstery.
Yeah, that's what they look like. They look like miniature lobsters.
Yeah,
and for all intents and purposes, they probably taste a lot like. I mean, all seafood kind of tastes similar,
especially
right?
in that category.
Yeah. So you get like, it's if you think about the way you cook these things, it's kind of weird. So you go buy this bag of them, and you buy them by the pound. So it'll be like a shitload of these things, and they're alive in this bag.
Yeah.
And then you purge them, which means because they live in the mud, so they have all kinds of like mud and shit in them.
Yeah.
And so you put them in salt water, like this brine water, and then they purge all the fucking nasty shit out of them, and then you boil these things,
which means that basically they swallow it and shit it out, right?
Yeah, or puke it up or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Like, the saline from the salt water.
Yeah,
because these are freshwater creatures.
Yes. Well, probably more. Well, I guess it depends on where it's from. Probably around here, it's probably more like brine kind of water, like a little bit of salt. But yeah. But then you boil these things in like super salty seasonings with it's usually, and it's kind of spicy with potatoes and all that. And they're really pretty good. Yeah. So I mean, we were talking about like it's a pretty amazing sustainable way to have food is to have these things, because I think there's never a shortage of these things, and they farm them out here. I know.
Well, the house that we grew up in, before they took all the ditches out of the neighborhood, because before that's how like the drainage system worked, is everybody had a ditch in their front yard and a little tube that went underneath their driveway. And at certain times of the year, you would see those little mud huts, and that's what they were. It was crawfish, and because there was so much water in those ditches, and it was so moist down there all the time, and we would have hundreds of them in our front yard alone. Yeah. And so if that's all over the entire area where we live, there has to be billions of them. And so, like you said, I mean, if you're fucking down and out, man, and you're fucking starving, just go look in the fucking ditch, dude, and you got it right there. Because I read that, generally speaking, they only live in places that are clean. That's where they can survive. If it's polluted, they just die,
Yeah.
So chances are, if they've been there for a little bit, like a week or something, and they're not dead, then it's probably clean, and you're good to eat them. Just boil them,
It's kind of a weird food. They're kind of a pain in the ass to eat, and people have some strange rituals around them, sucking the heads and all that weird shit. I've actually seen people do that. Kind of grosses me out a little bit, but
I've tried it. It's fucking disgusting.
It's just gross. I don't see the need. It's weird too, because like when you run across somebody who like sucks the head, they take like pride in that shit too.
I know.
They're like, they're like you're a fucking pussy and you're eating them wrong, right? They're like, oh fuck you, you're not, you're like wasting half the crawfish,
Yeah. See, well, I see people with the T-shirts on. It says "I suck the head" and it has like a picture of a crawfish on it or something. But I did that. I've done it 2 or 3 times, but the first time I was completely sober, and I was at some kind of fucking barbecue thing. I forgot what it was, and I didn't really know the guy that was there. It was somebody's uncle, or it was sort of like a family thing, but kind of loose. Everybody was having some beers and shit. And that's the first time I had crawfish that I can remember. And so I was tearing it apart and eating it and shit. And he was like, yeah, dip it in this and try this and do that. And then he's like, dude, but you got to suck the head. And I was like, what, are you fucking with me? I was like, first of all, that sounds kind of gay. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really want to. And he was like, no, look, I'll show you. Trust me, it's good. Like all the juices get in there in the brains and it gets marinated and shit. And I'm like, that's fucking gross, man. But I guess the way I saw it, it was like sort of like a test of manhood. I'm like, I'm not going to look like a bitch. I'll suck the head, It's
like rite of passage.
Yeah, so he did it, and I saw him do it. And then I did it too. And then I look down. First of all, it tastes like fucking shit. It tastes like just like some kind of salt water. You know, it's like a fish load shot in your mouth. You know what I mean? Some kind of fucking aquatic load. And so I'm grossed out. But I look down. It's like the color of it. It looks like infected yellow snots shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I almost fucking threw up. I swear to God, dude. And it was not good. But I've done it a couple other times whenever I was drinking a little bit, just fucking around, you know. And when I did it those 2 other times, it didn't really have that same effect on me. It didn't taste as disgusting, and I didn't see that color as shit. So I don't know if that was the preparation or if the one that I had originally was lack of purging. I don't know what was going on there, but it was just fucking gross, man.
Yeah, that's a weird customary thing. And it seems like every time I go somewhere, like I've been to several crawfish bowls, like somebody does them, and every time there's somebody there, there's got a, you know, that's their, they got a huge sense of pride because they suck the head.
Yeah. Oh, I'll suck that motherfucker. I'll put the motherfucker in my mouth right now.
Yeah.
There's so many gay jokes that can go with that, dude. Yeah. It's just like, yeah. But,
so another thing that is interesting about Louisiana is, and that kind of gives it a weird vibe, at least on the southern coast, is that it's all like swamps and industry. Like, refineries, shitloads of like refineries, and so it kind of gives it this, I don't know, for some reason, like like at night a refinery, they look cool, but to me they look kind of terrifying because there's all kinds of weird shit going on, and they're like, you know, there's fire coming out of stacks and smokes and tons of pipes and just all this shit, but it's really strange because it's just everywhere, but at the same time, you have a constant feeling of being in the middle of nowhere on that southern coast because you're in the swamps.
It makes me feel kind of lonely or something. It's like really,
it's a strange.
There's nothing beautiful there because a lot of the nature's kind of cut down around it, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, pardon me. That was Voodoo Barbecue and Grill where we ate earlier. But it feels lonely. But I think just before we got out of Texas, we saw that one refinery on our left, and there was like a foggy haze in the air. And I was like, dude, look at that, man. It's beautiful in a weird way because this refinery was tall as fuck and long as fuck, and it had lights all over this thing, but there was trees in front of it, but you could still see what was going on, and there was a fog there, and it was like, it was just beautiful in some kind of weird way. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so,
well, everything's like super symmetrical usually. Well, with, you know, because all the pipes, just the way it's all laid out, and it's pretty sophisticated. There's tons of stuff going on there. You know, all kinds of wires and conduits and pipes and smokestacks, and there's just a whole shitload of stuff going on. It's like this weird like organized chaos going on in there. And then you plop that thing like in the middle of a swamp, and it just has a really strange vibe about it.
Yeah, it does. But a lot of that area, man, this we talked about the fog a few times now. And you can see how, because there's a strong, not culture, but I don't know what you would call it, but there's a lot of ghost stories that come out of Louisiana, and you can see how that happens now because when you're driving along I-10 on that highway, and this is probably all over the fucking state, is you see these swampy looking woods where there's like, I don't know, like between 1 inch and maybe a foot of water that's kind of covering the roots of all the trees, and then it has the fog that's kind of going through it, and it looks like every fucking horror movie ever that takes place in the woods. And so, but it's beautiful, man, and I would think normally maybe that would kind of be a downer for me to see that, but when we were driving around, it was just fucking cool, man. It set a really cool fucking vibe, and especially when we were driving back on that 22-mile bridge earlier, and we were listening to the excellent metal band called Amorphous, who has a very unique tone. And just hearing that and seeing that sight on that bridge and the sun was coming down and shit, dude, it was fucking epic, man. It was badass.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm glad that we came here. So when we first started talking about this trip, we had a few main things we wanted to accomplish. First of all, we wanted to go without having a plan, which we just wanted to basically get in the car, get on the road, and go see something. Now, we knew we had a limited amount of time, so we kind of ended up sort of formulating a plan. First, we thought, well, we'll go to Arkansas, and because John said, I'd like to see mountains. Well, we only have kind of a limited range of places we can get in an appropriate amount of time. So we found there's a place called Mount Magazine. We thought, well, we'll just see if we can shoot up that way and see what we see on the way and just kind of hit the road. Well, it turns out it was going to rain there the whole time. So we, if you go from where we are in like the Houston area, if you go west, you can drive in Texas for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Like to get to like El Paso,
it's
in that area.
12, 14 hours.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
And it's the boringest fucking drive ever. I mean, because you get like on the other side of San Antonio, and it's basically like Wile E. Coyote desert forever, and so we were like, man, we've already seen that shit. So we were like, well, let's kind of check something else out. So I'm kind of glad we came this way, because I've driven through Louisiana, and initially we thought, well, we can probably get as far as like Biloxi, Mississippi, and then we'll just kind of wing it and see what we want to do. So we ended up not going to Mississippi, and we've spent all our time now in Louisiana, and I'm kind of glad we did, because we got to spend a little more time in New Orleans and getting to see, just kind of getting a feel for the whole culture around here. This is an interesting state, and I do get like a specific kind of vibe off of it, kind of a gritty, kind of creepy vibe almost, and I like that. It's a cool place. It has like it definitely has a feel about it that's different than Texas.
It does, and it reminds me of that show True Blood on HBO. Well, obviously because it takes place in fucking Louisiana, but I'm assuming they had to have shot pretty much the whole fucking thing here, because that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. But
because I've seen like 2 or 3 seasons of that show, when we were driving through the swampier parts, that's what was kind of like going through my mind, like that sort of vampire-y werewolf feel. Like that's the kind of I don't know, like the mood I was in. I don't even know what to call it. But there were certain areas where we drove through, and it kind of reminded me of fucking Swamp People, that show where the dude's on the fucking boat like zoom, zoom, zoom.
Well, I'm pretty sure that show is probably filmed in some of the areas we drove through.
I would think so, man.
Yeah, because I mean that swamp area over there, that Atchafalaya Swamp or whatever it's called, I think that area is probably that's probably where they're at.
Yeah. Well, I think we made the right decision. Well, you had the idea to go to New Orleans. Because we've both been to Biloxi, Mississippi, because I went to tech school there for a little bit whenever that hurricane tore up my other tech school in Florida back in 2004. And so we'd been there before. I mean, that was in fucking, 2004? So I don't really remember that much about it. But, I mean, we've already been there. So, it's good that we went to New Orleans. We got to see some cool shit, something that's famous all over the fucking world. The Bourbon Street and the whole French Quarter and the surrounding area there. And it was fucking awesome, man. I feel really good about this road trip. It sucks we got to drive back tomorrow. It's fucking, like 5 hours probably.
Yeah. And one thing, like I mentioned with this trip that was cool, is that we came without any agenda. So we didn't pre-book any hotels. We didn't do anything because we didn't even know where we were going to stay. And to me, that's kind of a fun way to travel, because it's just a constant state of exploring. We were able to just go out, and because I don't know, it's something about me, as I don't really like it when everything's planned when you're somewhere interesting, because sure as shit you're not going to get to see the cool stuff, because you're going to be like, fuck, now I have to go here and eat and and all this. And it's cool when you're able to just kind of go and experience all the things you want to without having to be constantly on the run.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of like a difference between a man and a woman. It seems like for the most part, women like to plan everything out, where they're going to eat, budget the money, what hotel, what sites you're going to see, how much time you're going to have. And my brain I don't know if it's because I'm a man or just my personality type, my brain doesn't work like that. Like all that stress and scheduling and be here on time, it's like I'm never having fun because I'm always trying to be on time, And but I had fun on this trip a lot, because me and you share that same thing. Like, who gives a fuck? We're 2 grown men. Like, what the fuck's going to happen? We got a full tank of gas. If we can't fucking get a motel, we'll sleep in the fucking truck. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? We'll get some fucking beers and fucking camp out in the truck. But, we found, I think we had to go to 2 different hotels before this one, didn't we? Or motels. They were full because there's some kind of sporting event, high schools, or some kind of competition in Baton Rouge. And so they're just fucking packed with teenagers and their parents and shit. But, we drove for like 15 minutes, found one a little bit out of Baton Rouge, and here we are in the beautiful motel. What is this?
This is, I believe we're in the Quality Inn.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing you can be guaranteed of. Anything that has the name Quality in it is not fucking quality. Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Because I'm looking at these fucking, I don't know if I'd call that a comforter. This literally looks like a curtain from the 1970s or 1960s.
Yeah, it's got that orange. Is that even what color that is? It's like an orange brown.
Well, I think it looks like rotten mustard.
Yeah, that's what
the
it
color.
is. It's like a baby shit. Fucking, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I picture if what's the dude on the first Hannibal Lecter movie that it puts the lotion on?
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, this is the kind of curtains that Buffalo Bill would have in his house, except for we have them as bed sheets. And I'm not sleeping with that tonight because not only it looks creepy as fuck, but I guarantee you that thousands and thousands and thousands of cum shots have splattered these, and I seriously fucking doubt they wash them very often, if ever.
Weird about hotel beds, and it's not, I guess it's not unique to hotels, but and maybe I'm not cultured enough for this, but there's a lot of unnecessary shit that gets put on beds sometimes.
Yes.
Like last night when. And I'm so uncultured, I don't even know what these things are called. So basically, we got a room. It's got 2 beds in it, and at the foot of the bed, there's this. I don't know what the hell it is. It looks like a runner, it's just this piece of cloth that goes across the bed.
But what do you do with it? It just sits there.
It to me, it's almost like those decorative pillows. Just. I guess that's the point of it. It's decorative, but to me, it's just like all this extra clothy shit on the bed that makes the fucking covers heavy, and it's just like, get the fuck off the bed, I found myself getting up there and just like pushing everything off, and like we got up today and it was fun. I could just kind of chuckle because all that shit was on the ground on both of our beds. We didn't discuss it or anything. That's just how they ended up.
Yeah, fucking kick that shit off. It's just, and that's something I would never have at home because that's just one more fucking thing I gotta do to make the fucking bed. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. The shit looks weird. It has no fucking purpose, but we're men.
Yeah.
So, but
it's clearly like a decorative thing,
Yeah,
it's just
a completely pointless decorative thing. I mean, I guess it looked cool. It didn't look bad, but what the fuck? I don't need that. I don't give a shit. But
yeah, it was just what's weird about it is that it's too big to be. Well, I say it's too big to be just decorative.
Yeah,
because that thing was a huge piece of cloth.
Not big enough to cover up.
Not big enough to cover up, but it's huge. Where it's like. It needs to have some kind of function if it's that much material. Yeah. I don't know, man. But yeah, it's weird. And it's something that I don't think about often because I don't have that kind of shit on my bed at home. But like when you go to a hotel, I'm like, God, man, they've got like every bed accessory you can possibly have on this thing.
I know, man. And I'm looking at our, what the fuck are those called? Headboards. The headboards for these beds. I don't know if this is like a new style thing. Maybe it is. I'm so fucking far out of touch with that shit. But all it is the headboard and it's bolted to the fucking wall. So I've just never seen that. I don't get it.
Oh, yeah. It actually, it's not attached to the frame at all. It's actually just a board that is literally mounted to the wall.
You know why I bet they did that? Because they had the other way set up and people were in here fucking just loud as fuck, complaints.
Slamming against the wall.
Fucking breaking the sheetrock. I guarantee you that's why they do that shit. And you know what? Now that I see the truth and the light in this, you should do that. Because anybody who's have sex and they have a headboard, they know that motherfucker slams into the fucking wall. When shit gets crazy, you and your lady, you're passionate, or you and your man, however you roll, and you're just fucking going to town, power thrust, screaming, grunts, you're fucking gritting your teeth, fucking the shit out of them, and dung, dung, dung. And if you look behind headboards a lot of the time, you're going to see some fucked up sheetrock, chip fucking paint, the back of the fucking headboard's all scratched up. So I think that this is the wave of the future.
It's the answer to that. Yeah,
I think it is. But what else in this room? We're going to put up a picture of the way that we have this room set up to do the podcast because I suggested, based off of what we had, is look, we're brothers, man. We'll lay in the one of the beds together and face each other, and then we have this microphone that's called the Snowball, and it's like a big ball, and it captures all the sound around you, and we would just sit there and look at each other and talk into it. But if you think about it now, it seems funny. 2 dudes laying in a bed talking into the snowball, because I believe that's a term for like cum swapping, right? Brought out the old man laugh. But we have a better setup. There happened to be a desk in here, and so we pulled it away from the wall and stuck it between the beds. And there's these 2 shitty chairs in here, so we have them on each side of the desk, and it worked out. It's actually fun, man. It created, a fun atmosphere, right?
Yeah. We really brought it together because we drug all our podcast gear shit out because we determined Oh, that's another thing. This is our 20th episode.
Yes. Oh, I should have said that in the intro. I think I should have said that, and I fucking forgot, man.
But yeah, this is our 20th episode. So we thought, man, so at the end of the year there, we got off track a little bit. So we had a few things going on. We had to move our studio to a new place. Had some personal life things going on, the holidays and all this. So we were recording some episodes in there, but we weren't getting them out. So, I mean, clearly we just threw out 3 in the same day just a few days ago. Or I did. I finally got that shit uploaded, my lazy ass, because we had all this stuff recorded, and I just hadn't gone through it yet and gotten it all like post-processed and uploaded and all that. So we thought, well, because we thought that we were going to do our 20th episode at our old studio, and it was going to be kind of like the capstone episode and the last thing there, but it just didn't work out like that. So we actually ended up being able to do our 20th episode as our first episode like on the road, which is cool. Yeah. And I'm kind of happy it worked out this way. But yeah, we drug all our podcast gear out here, so hopefully the recording quality is pretty decent. And we got our mixer out here, our laptops, our mics, and we got the full thing. I think you took a picture of it, right? So we'll put this up because we fucked up this hotel room and we got it all set up and. It's working out pretty good. Yeah, and it wasn't that bad. It was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, well, maybe 10 minutes to set all this shit up. Yeah, we're getting a lot better. Like we're getting a lot faster getting all this set up and going.
Yeah, and the only negative I can see is we had to turn the AC off because it's one of those shitty like window unit motel fucking. Again, this is a motel, not a hotel, and it's the Quality Inn. And they don't specify the quality, but I'm going to tell you it's bad. Shit quality, but we had to turn that off, so it's a little warm in here, but I think it's like 70 degrees outside, so it's not that bad. But you got 2 man bodies in here and shit. It's getting a little humid, but it's good, man. Fucking I don't know, man. It's like we're out on an adventure, and this is even though it's like fucking 2 days, we're fucking doing it, man. We're 2 guys out on the road, like that shitty movie Wild Hogs with like who is that, John Travolta and Martin Lawrence. I mean, think about it, like what the fuck? That's what we're doing, man. We're wild hogs, wild hogs sucking the head and talking into the snowball.
Man,
yeah, but I don't think I got anything else right now, man. Because I think I slept for like 3 or 4 hours. And I had a few beers before then. I'm not like hungover or anything. I'm just kind of tired because we walked far as fuck when we were at in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I know you do your steps. I don't think we got the full 10,000 steps, so I'm not sure the distance, but to me, it felt far as fuck.
Yeah, I'd say. Not that it's a ton of walking, but I'd say we did at least 5 miles today. So
yeah,
and we've been all in, and yeah, considering the whole like food fucked you up a little bit and all that, and the no sleep and everything. Yeah, we did pretty good.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good, man. But the journey's almost over. Well, we still got the ride back tomorrow, and hopefully, if we see something cool on the way, we can stop there. I really hope that since it's going to be early too, we can stop at some kind of Cajun food. Hopefully, a mom and pop shop where they just got like sloppy alligator fucking food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really want to hit something like that. And if there's a quick little museum we can stop at, I mean, both of us, we want, we got to get back, but at the same time, we want to absorb as much as we can on this trip and learn about other cultures and shit. And Louisiana is fucking awesome, and it's so close to us, and we need to come here more.
Yeah.
We really do, man.
It's, that's another thing is they have casinos in Louisiana.
Lots of them, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few. And it's like kind of a constant reminder of our insane laws too. They can have these things either, I think, on reservations or if they're not on land.
Yeah, if they're like out in the ocean a little bit.
Yeah. So these things are like on barges in little like puddles of water and all these, they do all these kind of like weird shit. And anyway, I'm glad they're here, no doubt. But it's so weird, like what people have to go through to have a casino.
I know,
especially in 2017. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I mean, we're lying to ourselves, pretending like that because it's sitting on this like little body of water that it's any different than if it were sitting on a little piece of land.
If anything, that probably draws more attention to it.
I know, and there's so many weird like those, what do they call those, like blue laws? And you can only buy alcohol on these days.
Oh,
well,
right.
we suffer. We have that in Texas too. I'm not even a drinker, but I still think it's retarded. It's just like, why can I don't know.
But one thing that's interesting though is I asked you to look it up last night because I was driving. And I think they sell beer until, at least on the weekends, until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
in Louisiana, whereas in Texas, I believe it's only 1. Which, I mean, like, what fucking difference does it make? I don't know. Maybe I'm guessing that some fucking math master did the statistics, and most people die based off of buying alcohol at this time, or violence, or crimes.
I hope it's that complex. I hope that much.
Yeah, it probably has more to do with Christianity.
I suspect it's much more religious based than statistic based. But at any rate, yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm glad all this stuff's here. It's a cool place, and I'm glad we were able to come. And and we'll definitely have to make our way back. Hopefully for Mardi Gras one of these days.
Yeah, dude, that's going to be the shit. And I wanted to bring up one more thing, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. Is our brother Justin? He was, just nothing serious yet, just possibly planning out us going to Colorado and hiking through the mountains there. But I don't know if I don't know, man. It's going to be tight because both of us have obligations this year. I'm supposed to be going, or not supposed to be. I am going to Disney World, and I got to save up my vacation time at work. I need to save up, a certain amount of money and. But that is something that we need to plan on in the future, and then try to podcast from the mountains. Yeah, because we can just bring those little fucking devices, dude, with us. Like, there's a lot of podcasters that use them. Like, it's like a digital recorder or something. Yeah, and the sound quality is pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah, they're excellent.
So it's completely possible, and I would love to do a podcast in the fucking mountains. Yeah, that would be great, dude.
This is cool being able to do a show from somewhere that's outside of our normal place.
Yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, I love it.
We'll come up with something. We need to make an effort to have this happen ever so often.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like, anytime, it's not going to happen often, but anytime me and you go on the road, even if we're going to Dallas to see our brother, or to Denton or something to see our cousins, or just wherever we go, if we know there's going to be an opportunity where we have, just the right space and the right amount of free time to do a podcast on the road, we need to do it, man. And we both agree on this for sure, is we want to have more guests on the show, but just because of the timing and shit like that, and because of where the studio is, there's only certain people that we really want to have around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't want to have anybody who's too controversial at this point, just because of the location, not because of their opinions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's one of the advantages of being on the road. You can get a crazy loudmouth motherfucker, and it's not so close to home, to personal space and shit like that.
So, speaking of guests and all that, we've been talking about that. Is we think it's time, though, to probably start bringing some more guests on. We feel like we're getting okay at this. We kind of got down at least the basics of what we're trying to do. So, fortunately, with our new studio, I think pretty soon we will absolutely have the ability to use Skype.
Yes.
So we're going to get this going. So this is kind of a call out. If you got ideas or anything you'd like to hear about or talk about on the show, go ahead and hit us up. This is the time to start doing this. We still got a little bit of technical stuff we got to get figured out, but we'll have that done here pretty quick, and we're going to be able to do some new things, probably some video and probably some Skype and all that fun stuff. So at any rate, if you got any ideas, just let us know. And I think with that, we're probably going to go ahead and call this one. John, do you got anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I do. I want to invite our younger brother Josh onto the podcast again. And this time, though, is I want to more interview him, because he's a wild motherfucker and a good dude, and he's done a lot of crazy shit. He's seen crazy shit. And I don't even know all his stories. I know some of his stories.
We need story time with Josh,
and he's a great storyteller. And he doesn't try to butter things up. He just tells you what happened, and the way he does it is funny as fuck. And he's telling the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just because he's a wild motherfucker. A lot of his friends are wild motherfuckers, and they've just done and seen crazy shit. And he makes me laugh so fucking hard, dude. And I want to get him on here soon, within the next month or so. Just random thought. I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I think that's about it, man.
Okay, very good. Well, as always, everybody, check us out at jakeandjohnshow.com, on Twitter and Facebook at Jake and John Show. If you want to leave us a voicemail, the number is 804-557-4691. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on whatever platform you're on, whether that's iTunes on your phone or the podcast app rather, or Google Play, or whatever other thing you're on. It helps out the show. It lets us know kind of what's going on a little bit, which is cool. So anyways, thanks again for listening from Louisiana. We're going to go ahead and check out of here.
Oh, yeah, suck the head.
Take it easy, my friends.